What's up, everyone? My name is Al the Geek. Welcome to another episode of Get Off My Lawn. And before you all are wondering if you tuned in the right show, that is correct. I am not in my basement. I am not in my shop, and this is not the normal background. I am traveling. I'm at a secret bunker, also known as my in-laws, but that's not the point. Anyways, I have family in town. We're visiting, but I knew I had to do the stream, but that's not the point. Welcome to another episode of Get Off My Lawn. It's a bi-weekly show with myself and one Captain Xavier, where we talk about everything Nerf related. Now, if you haven't already, be sure to go to overtheworldfoamalliance.com. Be sure to register and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Our website is still under construction. I know you've heard it a million times before, but like I've said, we are a nonprofit. What does that mean? We got no money. And you know what? People that want to develop your website, they want money. So when we have money, we will have more of a website. But the good news is the plan is in place. We know what we were going to do with it. It's just we're procuring the funds and making it happen. And when it's up, it will be exactly what we said it would be, and we're very excited about that. We welcome your patience and thank you for your help. And also, if someone wants to send us a random check to pay for web development, we will happily take that. Just send us a message, and I'll tell you where to mail that check to. But in the meantime, today we do have a guest, and the guest you probably all recognize and know. He'll be on with us shortly. But for those tuning in and we're about to tune off, we do have Beret or Brett on with us as well. And what we're going to be talking about today are things like APOC and BPOC. Even though it is close enough to me because of my hip, I knew it wouldn't be something that would be a good idea for me to go run around all day. So the good news is Brett did, so he can report back to us in terms of his experiences, who he saw and who he met. Now, with that said, obviously this isn't all about me. There is one Captain Xavier. Cap, man, what's shaking, brother? How are you?
I'm good. I've been making jigs, and they worked out well.
See, I think you can share the jigs. That will not get us kicked off.
You would what if I show you the ammo and they decide that I'm some sort of a horrible person? So this came about because many moons ago I decided I wanted to be able to make my own rockets, Titan rockets and Altimeter rockets and whatever else. And I developed a system to be able to do it, and then I just acquired enough Titan rockets for me to not have to develop it any further for a while. Only thing I needed to be able to make were the fins, and I could just use an old fin and cut them out. But then Titan Ball apparently became more popular, and more people wanted to play it, and so there was somebody who was making custom Titan rockets out of pool noodle, and they worked well enough. They weren't quite as durable as an original Titan rocket because the pool noodle just isn't as dense of foam, and for the life of me, I still haven't found a source for foam as dense as Titan rocket foam. But I found some that are closer, denser pool noodles than the stuff you'd get at like the Dollar Tree. But that guy decided to quit making them. He, for whatever reason, he'd made his lot, or he moved on, or I don't know. But he decided to quit making them. And so of all people, the maker of the Greg, who is his name actually? I don't think his name is actually Greg. What is his name?
Oh, it's right there on the tip of my tongue. But yes, I can see his face and everything else. Yes.
Yeah.
Someone in the chat will correct me quickly, so this is good.
Who designed the Greg? It's Anyway,
yes,
we had him on the show. You'd think we'd remember, but we're old men, so we don't have to. Train. Anyway,
we had to ask Brett if he was actually on our show before. That tells you how great we are.
Yeah.
Anyways, go ahead.
Evan, apparently.
Evan, yes, Evan.
Yes. So Evan was going to be taking it over, and he reached out to me to ask me, how I made mine and if I could help him improve his process, and we talked about it, and he had his plan and I had my ideas, and so I decided to actually get around to completing my process. And I'm getting real close. I'm waiting for a tool to arrive on Monday that will hopefully make things a lot easier. But the biggest thing that I knew I needed to design, and it ended up being way easier and simpler than I was originally expecting, are fin jigs. So what these are designed to do is you put the rocket on before it's got its fins on. This one has its fins on. And these little uprights hold the fins in place so you can glue them. Make sure that they're always exactly 1/4 of the way around. Make sure they're all at exactly 5 degrees of an angle. And it makes it so they're all always perfect. So I can make tiny Titan rockets. This is, in fact, a demolisher rocket. It will fit on anything that takes a demolisher rocket, but it looks like a tiny Titan rocket because I'm a nerd. The hard part that I needed to develop was how to core out the center, because this wasn't a pool noodle. This is way too small to be a pool noodle. This was foam back rod, I believe. And so I got a hot wire cutter, and developed some jigs to hold these in place so I could spin it and core out the center, and then the jigs to put the fins on, and then the head is an EVA foam ball that's been cut in half, and then there's a layer of EVA foam there, and all in all, you end up with a tiny Titan rocket. And I did the demolisher rocket first. I developed the jig for it and the cutting jig for it because I thought doing it at the small scale would be the easy one, and it turned out to be the opposite, because when I scaled it up to start making altimeter rockets, it was way easier to work at this scale than at the smaller scale.
Yep.
So yeah, I can now make altimeter rockets. Again, I use the hot wire cutter to core it, which has a number of good effects. One, it's really clean and perfectly centered, but using the hot wire to cut it sears all of the cells closed and actually makes it more rigid. So nice. Cutting the bottom at it makes it a little bit stronger all the way around, which is just fabulous and much easier than the old manual cutting core tool that I had before. This works much better. These two I made for one of our local moderators. These are for Nick Price. He bought an altimeter this weekend and asked me to make him a pair, because at Vorst this weekend, I ran an altimeter as one of my loadouts. And I had six of my own rockets that I made to run with it, and I actually managed to get a tag. I had to spawn camp to get it, but I don't care. The other loadout I ran was a rucksack full of pool noodles that I just threw as javelins. And I managed to get a bunch of tags using that because I got to use the rucksack full of pool noodles as a shield.
And you know what? You don't expect the pool noodle javelin coming at you, so there's a hesitation, and as soon as they hesitate, that's it. They're done.
Also, our rules, throwables count as heavy ammo, so nothing stops them. So you can't stop it with a blaster. You can't stop it with a shield. If the noodle hits you, you've been noodled.
And we'll ask him later when we get him on, but I do feel like that's something Beret will do. Because
I was channeling my inner Beret this weekend, yes. I miss him being there and running those sorts of silly loadouts. Also, a little bit of Lance, because Lance runs things like Bucket of Knives.
Oh, that's right.
But he's been marooned in Salt Lake City all summer, so we haven't seen enough of that foldy roll.
Before we tangent too much, I'm going to ask, will you be selling the rockets you make?
I don't know that I will have time to sell them, but I plan to make all of the jigs that I design available online once I get them fully tested. So the nice thing about them is they require no hardware and no supports to print.
That makes it easy.
And it would be really easy to redesign this part, which is what holds the fin, to hold a different kind of fin, or if you wanted it at a more extreme or a less extreme angle, that would just be a matter of altering this file to hold whatever kind of fin you want. All of mine are designed to hold Titan rocket style fins.
You know what? You just gave me a horrible idea, but this is fun. Now that you have cornered the idea in terms of how to customize your own foam rockets with the different jigs and the various ideas and experimentation, and the fact that, Out of Darts just did a custom tank with all kinds of things that launch off of it. Now that you can recreate all kinds of ridiculous ammo, why do I foresee some ridiculous launcher being put together to launch multiple kinds of home? I don't have to end this. You see where I'm going with this, right?
All of it. Someone in the comments asked, this one is made out of pool noodle. This was an extra large and extra dense pool noodle I found online somewhere years ago. I'm going to have to track it down and figure out where I got it so I can make more. The way I designed all of my jigs for cutting the core out, it's entirely modular. So I've got a frame that straps to the table that then has different jigs for different size pool noodles. So if you're using a different size pool noodle than I am, it's just a matter of altering the diameter of the jig that holds it in place. And then I've got a laser cutter that should be arriving on Monday, hopefully. And I will then be using that to cut my fins out and to hopefully cut the EVA foam for the head section.
I love that.
And obviously, I'm using, these are foam footballs that I got at the Dollar Store. I think the Dollar Store. Again, years ago, I got a box full of them upstairs. But you can use whatever head you want. I've made some out of EVA foam. I've made some out of stress balls. I've made, there's all sorts of options. The trick is just it's got to be the same diameter as your pool noodle. And luckily, those sorts of things tend to come in fairly standard sizes, 2 inch, 2.5 inch, 3 inch, 3.5 inch. And you can find your stuff accordingly.
Well, I think at that point, of course, because my brain is, because let's face it, I'm a nerd and weird. But I love the fact that once you get that foam in the front of it, you can literally shave that top off and put anything, like all weird. And I don't know what comes in my hand, like almost like throwable vegetables or fruit, whether it's like I had a broccoli or something else. You can make this.
You might make it less aerodynamic if it's not, symmetrical, but that's why I went with the footballs, because they're nicely aerodynamic and they're squishy, and they were $1 a piece. So, yeah, I do have some that are stress balls with goofy smiley faces on them that I think I got for the smaller design, because Titan rockets are a smaller diameter than Ultimator rockets. So I've got different foam if I want to make those. This foam would work just fine. And I might go ahead and do that just to have an extra large Titan rocket. So I've got the little ones. I've got the short squat ones. I've got standard Titan rockets. Why not make a slightly bigger one? Scale the fins up ever so slightly, which will be a lot nicer once I have a laser cutter and I can just design it and print it, basically.
The Ammo King, Captain Xavier becomes the Ammo King. I love this.
Yes. A diameter I don't have yet is old Nerf arrows, the Mega XL size, because that's a slightly larger inside diameter than Demolisher rockets.
Yep.
And that would allow me to make my own ammo for something like the Big Salvo. But frankly, Mega XL works just fine on the Big Salvo. All right, let's take a look at the chat. What's going on in the chat?
I'm sure people are saying something about stuff and other things.
Luca, we want Luca. What?
I don't know.
Can you make a steel N1 mold to cook the N1s down to 3-band half darts? Oh. Fascinating. So what's going on in your world? What have you been doing? Recovering,
Not enough.
hopefully?
Recovering, yes. So recovery has gone very well. I had my 6-week follow-up, and I'm walking normally without a limp. I'm almost back to normal. Not at 100% in terms of how much I can do in a day, which is why I didn't go to APOC or BPOC, just because I'm cleared to drive that far, but then the drive and then the running around and that probably would have been way too much for it. So that's why I did not. As the doc told me, he goes, "You look good. You're good. Just no running and jumping." I'm like, "Oh, come on, man! That's my whole well, it's not my whole existence, but you get what I mean." But I have a follow up in October. So otherwise, again, officially, my Etsy store is dead. It is. I have been suspended and cleared, and it's because we can argue back and forth. But what drove me nuts is every time I had a listing suspended, they said just read the article. And I read the article, and it was never clear. It was always very clear on airsoft, real-looking firearms, paintball, and everything else. Finally, when my shop was banned, then the article clearly said Nerf guns unless they're painted bright colors. So I am a little salty about it. Anyways, I'm going to open up a Shopify store. I've been dragging my feet on it, just as in terms of recovering on the hip, taking care of other things, and then also easing back into regular work. So That's what I've been doing. But also, you know what I've been doing? I realized of all the blasters I paint, I always paint them with a bunch of different colors and sell them. So now I've decided maybe before they stop making the ones and I go to new ones, I keep at least one of every blaster that I like to make and sell, paint it yellow and keep it.
I mean, I'm surprised you
So
haven't been doing that all along.
you'd think so, but it's always I'll just make more. Then I realize I got room, I can do this. So in the last few weeks, I have finished a dictator, a striker. I'm just in the middle of finishing a rage fire, two outlaws that are going to be a thing. And then, hold on, I'm being trolled. Can I help you? Would you like to come say hello? No. Are you just looking? Because I'm my in-laws, I have family that have nieces, so I have a niece standing like right there.
No, they can see a
And
reflection in the window behind
you can see her in the reflection. Yeah, see, there she is. So she just came to see what we're doing. So that's why she was there. She was actually on one of our original streams, which was like 2.5 years ago. But then she was wearing a mask. She's a little older now. But anyways, yeah. So that's when. Oh, also, I owe you money. Yes. What started
Okay.
this was the rapid strike that you modded. It's still in my house. It is now yellow and done and looks fantastic. So I should probably give you money for that.
Feel free.
So that's what started it, and I'm going to keep it for myself because I like it.
Cool.
Are we even stepping away high real quickly? Get in. You can see right there on that. See?
Hello.
This is my niece in from New York with the rest of her family. She had to come by and say hello. And she actually, yeah, you've been to a Maryland event, and you actually made it in the pictures as well. Yes. As you can tell, I'm a bad influence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Terrible influence. Hey, come on, man. She's gonna leave now before she says something else that'll be damning to my credibility here. So we should just stop now.
You're what now?
I don't know, something dark side. You know how it is.
So what do we got? Hello, Sam. I am. Let's see. General Strife. No, I have no plans to get the Willy Wonka chocolate factory set. That doesn't really fall into my categories of castle or pirate. So, what else do we got? I did get the new castle. A new Lego castle did recently come out, and I acquired it. And now I'm slowly building armies for the 2 new factions that came with it.
All right. Now that I'm no longer distracted, sorry about that. In other news, events coming up. Well, obviously APOC and BPOC happened, and I hear that went very well. And the good thing is we have Beret on today, so he's going to talk about it. I know
should get
that
him in here soon.
let's do that. How about we just get him in there now?
Let's just get Brett in now.
Let's just get him. Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen enough of us. Brett, also known Beret, also known the man that wears a, he'll fill it in.
He sometimes wears a beret. He's not currently
sometimes wears a beret. He is not.
it reinforces the sometimes.
That's right. So, ladies and gentlemen, Brett, man, what's shaking, brother? How are you? Welcome to the show.
Hello. I am in the void, the gray void, the gray shirt. Sorry about that. Okay, wait, if I go up a little bit higher, this is the Nurse Summer Camp. This is about as fun and exciting as any Nurse Summer Camp can be. This is a recent acquisition from someone, and so I am wearing it today.
Nice.
With a game
Very
face.
cool.
Don't think too much about that. There's no correlation. I'm well. Thanks for having me.
Glad you're on. So you want to let people know quickly who you are and what you do, or how you came to be. However you want to do it, spin it. Feel free.
How I came to be that one. You can explain in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
Well, I have been making videos now for closer to 8 years, more full-time-ish, rather than just recording gameplay with a couple friends, which is what I was doing back in 2010. So, seasoned Nerf enthusiast that has been just kind of sharing their enjoyment of the hobby ever since late high school, really mid high school. I'd like to say once I started figuring things out. Love going to games, love recording stuff at games, love checking out new products, love sharing my opinions on new products, and then just love making entertainment, be it things that are about new things or about stuff that makes me laugh and I hope makes other people laugh, or just sharing more insight around this weird little hobby that we've kind of all gravitated towards over the year that for some reason hasn't fizzled out yet. It just keeps growing stronger and stronger. That's why I'm still here.
See, that's awesome, and I think well, part of it is definitely you're definitely very positive, but also love the fact in terms of your out of the box, off the wall thinking and approach to the hobby, because like obviously we all have our things. Captain Xavier, you expect large, giant backpack filled monstrosities. Me, Master Key, crazy things. You take the least thing that you probably never would expect, and what does he do? He takes it and he dominates the world with it. And I think that is fantastic in terms of what you do.
You kind of you find your footing over the years, and I have like some old I have like old ideas that I even had rattling around before making my first videos, which is the funniest thing because like some people will ask me like what their inspiration is for like maybe starting a new channel or something, and I'm like, well, I actually started making videos back in 2010, and no one's ever seen them because I was like not inspired and just kind of copying someone else's styles, like literally like review with no substance. And then years and years down the road, I recorded more games. I went to more games, I found some more people playing. And so then I was like, oh, wait, this is something I actually enjoy doing. That seems kind of unique. I have my own unique twist. And at that point, I had the years of experience to be like, oh, I have the knowledge. And now I have a bunch of backlog of like all this footage on my channel of like things that maybe you don't see people using all the time. And as our games kind of like scaled up and got more crazy, it was fun to bring some of that into a more modern setting. It's still something that's fun to do. It gets more difficult to do depending on the game nowadays. I can talk about that for a while, but it's
Is
fun.
anyone
And I'm
else
glad
hearing baseball in the background?
Hold on.
someone's
Yes,
playing baseball.
that's a man behind the curtain. So I'm guessing no one watching from home. But by the
No
way,
one at home is hearing about line drives in the background, but I'm going, what on earth is going on here?
But the best thing is Brett was able to still carry on his monologue with the baseball game
Nothing
being in the
slows
background.
Brett
I love
down.
that.
I figured I was just going. Anyways, yeah, it's been fun to now get people who will kind of, that's what they assume that I'm about, right? Yeah, like they don't. I've tried to make it pretty clear that you don't come to my channel to find the latest and greatest reviews on stuff. Yes, there will
Yeah.
be some of that sometimes, and hopefully at this point, if you do come to my channel looking for that, or you see that I've posted something, you'll be like, okay, I can kind of know his bias and be familiar with what he likes, but I can still like treat his opinions as something that are backed up by experience because I can go back and see that experience. Everyone has to admit that they have some sort of bias or preference, and when it comes to saying something is good or bad, it can be very different than saying this is like usable or not usable because there's so much room for all of that. But it's very easy to say, well, this is fun because I used it in the game. It's like, there's your proof. Like, yes, could be the worst thing literally ever. But if I had more fun with that than the different like modern offering, we want like that's my opinion, and that's fine if you don't agree with it. I'm also not like being paid to sell anyone anything. I'm not really sure where I stand on most of these like lists for companies at this point. It seems like it goes up and down a little bit. It's a mixed
Yeah.
feeling, honestly.
Yeah, there's very little consistency. I get stuff left and right, but I don't get stuff like directly from X-Shot or Dart Zone much anymore, but
I just found gum underneath this table. That's nice. Cool.
that's delightful.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyways. I just
Well,
wanted to share that.
Nasty.
Well, I think, Brett, the beautiful thing is you found your lane and you're doing very well in it, and it makes total sense. It's like so many aspects in this hobby. It's not like you have to be this, you have to be this, you have to be that. I think the fact that there's so much wide acceptance and there's so many things you can be, yet still be very much in it, and you have found your lane and it works well and you do it well. And the fact that you enjoy doing it, it's not forced. Also, people can tell when it's genuine, which also then generates it. When it's forced, everyone, even if you can fake it, you only fake it so much, and then people know it's forced. So
I very much
it is
feel that you
difficult.
help. Yeah, and I help you. I feel you very much helped bring the attitude of the hobby into the if it's fun, it's okay. Because I remember the early days where if you weren't going for maximum FPS or maximum whatever, then it was garbage and you should just leave the hobby. And that's just not the attitude we see anymore in the vast majority of the hobby space. There are places now where people who want to build maximum stuff and go crazy, they've got their own niche, but it's no longer the dominant opinion that if it's not perfect, it's not worth anything. And it's nice to see people run ridiculous stuff now, because why not? It's fun. Yeah, like comp people tend to run the top end stuff because it's comp. HVZ people tend to play with slightly more optimized HVZ stuff, but a lot of the stuff we see at the public wars is just silly and fun.
Yeah, and by all means, I'm glad that I've contributed to, showing off the fun where sometimes it can feel like things get stale, because you'll always see people talking about how, oh, this is trending towards this direction, or I don't like how everyone, 5 people talk about a new blaster and then everyone says, well, I guess that's the only thing people are buying. Guess I gotta leave the hobby because I'm not gonna buy it myself. And the internet, bigger fun echo chamber. There's some wonderful overreactions that you'll get just by that simple nature. But to be clear, I'm obviously not the only person who is like kind of put that energy out there over the years for like, you can keep having fun at games. I've learned so much by going to these other events that are not just local to see what people are building. I know it's alive and well. And you go back years and years, like when I was first getting into the hobby, there were people who had been playing for many years that were using goofy stuff at their actual NIC wars. You can find old footage from like, Bobololo using all those like, big rocket launchers, be it like ultimators, or modded other modded blasters to fire large rockets. The fun has always been there, but as more people have shared their stuff and as more blasters have obviously trended in a more efficient direction, yes, it is easier to find some of that stuff if you don't look too hard. This also goes into the whole like, oh, modding is dead because I see all these people making only pump action springers, and I realize I've just opened up many different conversation potentials there. But yeah, I like to share things that maybe you wouldn't always consider, and it's not always the right games that aren't always out there for certain people to try it out. So I understand that. And hey, some people also can't even find games. I've always liked to tell people that I make videos too for kind of like the middle school self that wanted to find games when they didn't exist. So I was kind of put myself back in that position where it's like, if I can share my experiences, that'll be cool for someone who's never been able to go to a game, whether that's inspiring them to go to one in the future or because they just happen to live in a desert of no events. And they've really got to kind of like figure it out if they want to travel with something. Because for, my whole life that I've been into this stuff, I've had something nearby, or at least I was working towards getting to be an adult, or then I could decide to go to something. Because as a kid, and this is something I can't really put my mind in the same way. If I was under the age of 18 right now and not able to like transport myself around, I don't know how I would approach some of these events where you're like, wait, so there's a bunch of adults for one of these things, and technically some of these things are for kids, and then I just need to bring a chaperone, or I don't need to bring a chaperone, and it's a very interesting world. But like as an adult, it's so much easier to do all that stuff and be like, yeah, I think I'll fly to the other side of the country for this event, or Singapore. I could, like, maybe. Don't really know how that all works, but I guess I could try it because I know people over there now. Isn't that the weirdest thing? Like, as a kid, I can't even imagine like putting myself in like back and saying that would happen one day.
Oh yeah, that's one that's gone through my head all kinds of times. Like, imagine telling 10-year-old me that one day random people in Europe will mail you Lego because they like the videos you made about Nerf. One day you will sleep in a tent in a stranger's lawn in the Netherlands while nerfing through Europe. What?
You just never know where you're going to end up, man. That's the best part about this hobby too.
Incidentally, there's somebody in the chat going by Deplorable Does Stuff who wants you to come back to the Pacific Northwest and take your club back over because he's tired of running it.
Name sounds familiar. Face sounds familiar. I can throw out there that I still have full control over the Discord, and so with just the snap of my fingers, I can make it all go away.
You are still in control.
So
Excellent.
I'm still, think of it that way.
Very good.
Also, give me like 5 years, and it could happen. Never say never. Trust me, I miss those events too. I miss going to places that we shouldn't have gone to, and maybe it's been long enough where we can try that again without saying any of those names out loud. Who knows?
Well, the nice thing is we have finally incorporated as a 50c3 nonprofit.
Yes.
So we have that
That
as that may open those doors at some point in the future. We do also now have an indoor venue down in Portland. We now Nerf in the Lloyd Center Mall.
The fact that happened while not actually being around is insane. But I've been in the area many a times recently for various things. Of course, it didn't give me enough time to overlap with an event. But I actually sat in the Portland Theater while I was waiting for a flight, if you're familiar with it, the little local theater where they'll play local clips. And there was something that was playing from, I think it was a couple of years old at this point, maybe 1.5 to 2 years old, about the mall and how they were reviving it with all those closed shops and the different events they were having, roller skating, I think through Marshalls.
Mhm.
Or is it a different one? Because then I was like, oh, I wonder if they're going to bring up that. And then I realized it's been the date of the production was literally a year and a half old. So I was like, okay, I guess not. But
not yet,
this
but
could be something you see in the future
someday. Yeah.
how that ecosystem is changing. So really interesting. It makes me want to go and just see what all's going on there.
Our next game is next month. So we cut down how many events we do at Centralia this year. So we only did 4. But basically, in all the months that we didn't have an event at Borst, we have an event at Lloyd Center. So we ended up hosting more events than we did by trying to host fewer events. I think we missed the boat somewhere. But
I'm just impressed. I'm impressed that you guys out in well, no longer because he's now on the East Coast, but you guys always had everybody out in the West Coast, and now finally it's not just, hey, we have people, we can actually do more things, so this is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, we also have events that go up north of Seattle in the Everett area now that has an indoor or some indoor venue some of the time. So yeah, we're continuing to grow and expand, and the Pacific Northwest is a huge area. We have more than enough population. That's just the ever problematic issue of venue. Where do you hold the event?
Always. Speaking of venue and event, so you actually went to it, but so you ended up at Jared's Epic Nerf Battle. Tell us a little bit about that, man, and how much. Just tell us about it.
Oh, I mean, it's easily the greatest event of all time. Anyone who's been to it before will know that it's hyper focused on competitive play. You can really wrap up your KDA there, which is really cool. You can just destroy everyone if you want. Mod your stuff. It's
very, very organized. I've heard. Yes.
Yeah. The best part is that a lot of people wear eye protection, and that I think is just really cool to see.
The games are run very smoothly. There's no confusion. It's just the model of efficiency. It really needs to be the model for all future events.
Pulling a little of that sarcasm off, it seemed like the event, the game this time were run okay. I think this happened when we went before in 2019. Maybe I didn't pay attention at this time, but I think when they have games that are you have 3 lives, that's pretty funny. They run through a bunch of different games, so they do set out a few different rules for, okay, we're going to try to have this one as just a little one, a certain age limit. And that can kind of be a good thing to have it a bit safer for the like super small kids. Maybe they did one this last time where people could only like crawl around on their butts because you couldn't use your legs. I didn't go out for that one.
Okay.
I say these out loud. Maybe they weren't run better. Maybe these were worse games. But like, just the idea of like, you're not going there to like actually take your hits. Oh, I said it. And you're not really going there to make any meaningful tags on anyone. There's zero strategy other than just like if you want to be on the front lines and have access to everyone in front of you, then you go up to the front. If you want to just stand 5 rows back and shoot into the crowd, you can do that too, and that's pretty fun to watch. It's incredible how many adults and then also children are not wearing eye protection, and so as people who are well aware of the risk, you kind of just look at that and say, okay, because like the hobby narc wants to go out there and tell everyone to put their eye protection on. Guess what? You'll be doing that all day, and then you find out, oh, but the kid's parent's standing right there. So what are you going to do about that? Like it's the impossible task. So when it comes to actually attending this kind of event, you approach it as the massive child's birthday party that it is. You come with an
Yeah.
underpowered blaster, and then you don't worry too much about it. So that's what I did. I explicitly went because I went to steal Jared's epic gold blaster from the Ultra line. I went as the Ultra guy in full Ultra, like the final form of the Ultra loadout with the jacket, mask, Ultra One, a shield,
Ah,
and I had a good time. The blaster still as rough as I remember, but you know what? I wasn't hurting a darn soul. I had a good time just kind of firing into the crowd and then blocking a lot of shots for people so I saved some children. That's my takeaway. I said,
Excellent.
get out of here while you can, as like barricades were being pushed into our direction. So, but it's if you've never been on the field, they were talking about this like before we even got out there. People were taking tours of AT&T Stadium, and it's like, yeah, technically the ticket to go to this event is cheaper than like paying for an around the field tour. So it's almost like a way to do that at less cost, and you get more time out there. So they created a pretty unique thing to be able to like play on that field.
Yeah.
It's not as AC as I thought I remembered, but that could also be because I was wearing a jacket. So
that might do
you
it.
make the most of it, and if you have no interest in it, then just do not go. Like don't go. It's pretty obvious. Like don't go to the event.
Well, supposedly there might not be anymore, so you might not have the option. But I was always kind of baffled that they managed to avoid ever having any serious injuries, given that they don't allow, they don't
That we
truly
know how.
require or they don't enforce iPro, but they also don't have an FPS limit. And there are blasters you can get at Walmart that hit 200 FPS, which would absolutely take your eye out. And yet, as
That
far as I know,
actually,
I've
yeah.
never heard of anybody leaving Jared's epic Nerf battle to go to the ER. So I think he's just really lucky in that regard. Um,
I would agree. Also, funny story from this time. Again, yes, I did attend the event, but I was also on the VIP list. Very special. Now clap. Funniest thing, I got called up first to go on the podium, which, given the people who are behind me, with the like actual significant followings who've been there before, that the kids expected. Yay, clap for this guy. And I'm like, a lot of these people don't know who I am, and that's fine. But also, what we did discuss before, so like Aaron Esther was there, which was really cool. Like, he was able to make the trip down there, and he was with his wife and kid, like super cute.
Yeah.
And before going out there, he's like, wait a minute, like, because they were testing out some blasters on the field before we got kind of like all set to head up on stage. And he's like, wait, that kid had like a Nexus Pro X. Do people have those like out in the audience? Like, yep. He's like, that's what they're going to be shooting us with up on stage. It's like, oh my gosh. Like,
Now you know why I went to Jared's epic Nerf battle in
now,
armor with a full face
now
mask.
you understand. And I did too for this event. I basically had like a full covering. I had, and with the jacket too, was extra protection. The shield was more additional. So it was pretty funny to see some of the reactions of like, okay, if these little ones are actually little ones, the ones who can actually prime those blasters, I suppose. But if some of them are aiming at us, it's like it'd be really uncomfortable. So you better wear your eye protection. And for those not paying attention, yeah, like
Yeah.
there were quite a few dart zone blasters I saw out there that were literally the pro option. So
Apparently,
I
someone
didn't
in the
feel any
chat said
bad ones, but
they saw Harriers in the audience.
I mean, the Nerf Pro
Yes.
Harrier, why not?
I
don't know
heard
what that
a
checks are, yeah.
story, an apocryphal story about somebody who their local Nerf, their school did Nerf battles, but they only allowed stock blasters. So the kid bought a Kunlun, which hits upwards of what, 240-ish?
220 to 240, depending on the dart.
220
yeah.
to 240?
Yeah.
And claimed that it was stock. Like, I mean,
Yep.
yes,
Yeah,
you could
exactly.
make the legal argument that it is stock, but you are an absolute horrible person for doing that. like that's not what they meant. Plus,
Think about how difficult it would be to host an old school game nowadays with like End Strike or even End Strike Elite performance compared to not.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring out the old, or
you have to look for that stuff, right? Like if you go to store shelves, what are you going to find at this point? You can we can laugh about it and we can cry about it too, but I guess N series is your option.
And though Adventure Force and X Shot still has the cheap stuff. Busby still has the low performance stuff. But at the same time, you're going to see Nexus X and Striker Mark IIs, and you're going to see the X Shot Pro line. Yeah. You're going to see the piston pump. You're going to see all of the stuff that definitely isn't what we think of when we think of stock Nerf anymore. Which is why all of our side of the hobby has switched from ever referring to anything as this is a stock event. We go FPS. We know better. We know what happens. We saw the writing on the wall when the Nexus X came out, and you're like, well, crud, we can't refer to stock anymore because that could be anything up to 100 FPS, and that's not what we want. And that's just where the hobby has gone, and it's fascinating, but. Yeah, I've been to, I don't remember how many Jared's Epic Nerf battles I've been to now. 3 or 4, I think. Which is 3 or 4. Well, it's 2 or 3 too many. 1 is good. It really is something that if you're in this hobby, I would highly have recommended. Now go to 1, just so you'll appreciate how much nicer the events we run are. And it's unlike anything else. Like you said, it's not trying to be an HVZ. It's not trying to be comp. It's not trying to be a standard hobby Nerf war. It's Jared's Epic Nerf Battle. It is an entity in and of its own. There isn't anything else like it anywhere. There never has been. And if it's gone, then that's a shame. But
it is what it is.
Yeah.
So
okay. Speaking of hobby stuff, tell us about Epoch and BPOC.
Yes, let's do that.
I don't have any other dirt on some of the other VIPs, but.
Oh yeah. Go. Dirt.
I was asked for dirt. Well,
did you say dirt on the VIPs? Is that what
I said?
VIPs.
Give us the dirt. Spill the tea.
For the record, I was starting to question if any of the VIPs got injured because of the high power. But if we want to spill into dirt as well, that I will put that out there. But my original question was if anyone came away with a welt or like
that. I explicitly remember that being a concern from Aaron, but no, I don't believe anyone got just like destroyed. I think those who have been there in the past kind of have it figured out. Like they go out for a couple rounds, do their thing. If they're trying to, capture video footage or anything else they're trying to do, they do that, and then they hightail it back. There's a safe room for the special VIPs where they can get like staged from, get some water, get some snacks, and and all their stuff. So a lot of people stayed there for quite a bit of time. I think I found myself out there a little bit more than I expected, but I was having a good time. I couldn't feel my hits, and so I never really got hit too hard. I think let's see, the biggest injury I took was just it got really the things on my face were squishing my face too much, and I still found myself with a headache by the end of the night. I'd been drinking enough water, but it's still just very tiring. It gets very warm, so don't do that. I think Flux hasn't figured out with his suit. His suit actually has the AC inside of it, and he only
Mhm.
puts it on for like 1 or 2 rounds until it either like does its job, empties the ammo, or breaks down. Like that's the natural conclusion for when you take that off. But he went out there like just for like 1 or 2 rounds, got his pictures, with people who were waiting for it, and then all right, go back, take it off. That's a smart thing to do. So yeah, just tiring. That's all it was. I'd say it was successful. Spent probably as much time in the pool as I did on the Jared's Epic Dallas Cowboys field. So I'd call that a win. That was nice.
I made the mistake of going into the pool one of the years that I was there, and I had not put on any sunscreen, and I got second-degree burns.
Yeah, the UV index there was kind of high, and it was like also raining for part of that time.
Yeah.
Somehow, thanks you, Texas. Quick weekend trip, but it was fine. Yeah, I got to do what I got to do. I got to touch the Golden Ultra Blaster, kind of confirmed a few things, and I wasn't able to steal it though, unfortunately.
Oh, pish.
Yeah. Stealing apparently is wrong.
I don't follow.
All right.
Next time.
Now that we put that to bed, APOC, BPOC, brother.
Oh no, it was definitely not as good as Jared's Epic Blaster.
Just an absolute mess.
It was not as many people, so it can't be as good.
Right.
Yeah, more people,
Actually,
more blasters.
How many people were at APOC, BPOC? What was the estimated numbers at APOC?
I heard an estimate based off of tickets sold. I do know some people weren't able to go the day of. There was some traffic issues. I know it was over 100. I can't tell you exactly how many it was, but it was well over 100.
Nice.
So really, really cool to see, APOC and also like Armageddon. I don't know what that count was from this past year because I wasn't able to attend, but like last year was also over 100. So it's really cool when you can see those kind of events, pulling triple digits, especially events that are kind of like, pretty rooted in history as far as like this hobby is concerned, the pillars of the West and the East Coast. So it's cool that like, those summer events are kind of becoming like staples. And there were some people who attended, from the other side of the country for it too, which is also always really cool. Don't know if we got international attendance here. That seems to be still kind of reserved for other large events. So maybe that'll change, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm entirely wrong. So yeah, 100, like over 100 for APOC, and then I don't know if that exact quantity came to the next day, just because it's kind of limited in terms of actual players. But there's still quite a few. You can do the math based off of 14 teams, at least 5 each, and then all the organizers. It's definitely close to 100 just based off of people that were there.
So is APOC just a big war and then BPOC is a tournament? Huh, I always wondered what the difference was between those two.
That's not because
I thought they were two completely different events at completely different times.
Sort of.
Well, you're not wrong. So APOC is the Apocalypse, right? Is the long-standing East Coast event, and then like Armageddon is the long-standing West Coast event. Now, in recent times, as we have discovered, it is more conducive for people to travel to big events if it's worth their weekend travel.
Yeah.
So, adding a day of stuff is cool if you can do it, and we've seen it work. So I think both events were like, let's try it. And the big thing that had kind of been ringing true was competitive events were growing, and the people who were willing to travel, I think, expressed that as an interest, or at least proved financially it was in their wheelhouse to do that. So that's how it came to be, or just like a strong East Coast presence of organizers was able to organize it first, and the West Coast followed suit. Don't kill me if I'm not entirely wrong on that accuracy, but it sounds right. So that's what happened this time.
We have word it was in fact an international event, as some Canadians came.
Oh, that's embarrassing. I don't. Okay. Do I say I just assumed that's almost the same thing? Okay. I'm digging. It's not getting any better as I keep talking about this, but
Canadians aren't real people.
All right, I'm gonna let you say that. as I've seen more of them at some of these events, and now understanding how close they are to the border of the U.S. on the East Coast, my mistake.
I'm further north than most Canadian nerfers.
Mind blowing. How does this flying work? It's not allowed to be.
It's weird,
I mean,
man. There's a
get
dip.
that too. It's nuts. It's bizarre.
It is. So then, anyways, well, APOC then happens on the Saturday.
Sorry, Team Northern Lights. Yes, I apologize.
There you go. Saturday is APOC, and basically
Mhm.
it happens on a paintball field, Cousins paintball field, and all day it's different. We'll let you explain that. Just give it general for people, and it's what FPS cap at 300 all day, and then so when you show up in the morning, like run us through like through the day and what games were available.
Yeah, so 300 is the all-day cap. I think they advertised maybe 1 or 2 rounds that would be a little bit lower, but basically, if you show up with a 300 FPS blaster, you can play like 85% of the day. So do that, and you should be okay. And it's very easy to find something that's slightly lower if it comes down to that. I think they maybe had like a pistol round explicitly as well, but otherwise, it's like bring your 300 FPS loadout. They have some special Jedi rules as well. So just be up to date on your Mega XL and throwables socks if you are interested in not getting bunkered by someone with a massive sword, which can be interesting. It's an interesting experience. So the game modes, yeah, they have. Sorry, backing up. The field itself, it's my first time going to that field. I see now why they enjoy it. It's big. There's way more room than I realized, and the admins are the ones who kind of set the field size. So I guess we could have even gone bigger, but for like the group we had and for what they sectioned off, I think it worked really well. And for like the 300 FPS engagements, it works nicely so that you can actually have some distance and still feel safe with the tree covering. There's little like trenches, there's buildings. Oh, it's very nice. The not so nice thing is the tick wildlife that I guess is out there too. I'm pretty sure there's spider bites that are covering my ankles right now. I don't want
Probably.
that, but that's not the game organizer's fault, so I won't dive too deep into that one. I like the spiders dove deep into my flesh. But the game modes that they have, I believe, I paid attention to this, right? They started at around 11. You can get there like 10 to 11. We were a little bit late, but we plenty of space, typical canopy. Um, we got our team bands, and then they did some rules briefings. They showed off the medics, which is always good too, which is really important for summertime. So highly recommend in general. Nowadays lots of people are trained to, for these kinds of situations. In summer, it's only more important. So really happy that that's kind of like a constant now. It's well understood. And it's not just like one person. There's like a team of 5 or 6. So really, I don't remember having to hear medic get called at any point. But if you don't have one, that's when they'll have to get called, right? So big thumbs up for that. And then they went over the game modes that they would have for the day. Hydration reminders too, so you don't get to the medic points. But you had some just regular like team deathmatch, like death clicks. Go out, play, get tagged, go back, click, come back in. Timed, always good because it means you can play as hard as you want for the allotted time, and then whoever gets the least amount of tags on the team wins. There was also some like capture points, which remember how that exactly worked because I never actually found them myself. I was not brave enough to go to those positions. And then there was a capture the flag, which another instance of the flag was out there, just didn't really see it. This may surprise you a little bit, Chamo, but I was not actually playing super hard because as a West Coaster, this humidity was wrong. It was pungent, and I was not trying to run myself ragged before the day's end.
Right.
And everyone
You're not used to it. That's right. Yeah.
Everyone locally too was just like, well, it's not as bad as it was last year. And I was like, that doesn't mean anything to me today. So I was trying to hydrate as much as possible. Still felt a little like not dehydrated by the end of the day, just like I could feel it. It was a very taxing day.
Actually,
Some people went
no
Pitched it
knock on
hard.
you, no knock on you, Brett. But yeah, this year compared to the last 2 or 3 years, it was like Georgia end war hot type of
You're
grossness.
just thinking
And
about it.
so this is kind of like a relief, and it doesn't get as bad as Georgia, but it's that humidity. So I get both perspectives. It's not as bad, yeah, but if you're not in it, it's bad.
Yeah,
Anyways,
Yeah.
keep going.
I went to Tennessee recently, and oh Lord, the weather nearly killed me.
Game modes were pistols, 315, death. Oh, that's right. There was a 315 double flag dash domination CQB. Thanks, Andrew.
Yep,
Yeah, as
there it
someone who
is.
actually paid attention. I did
Yeah.
not actually go with the express intention to like play super hard and play every round. I did in fact sit out certain rounds, and because it was just kind of fun to take it all in, see certain people
Oh
I hadn't
yeah.
gotten to see in a while, and just hang out and be like, wow, I'm in the woods. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm gonna go back to the staging area. It's a bit of a hike into the it's a walk into the
Yes.
area, so you got to make time for that. But that was a really cool place to play. I definitely want to go back there at some point. And with the amount of field that we had, I understand why that works out well for like 300 FPS. There's some plenty of cool builds that people had for it too. Not just like off the shelf stuff. Though to be fair, someone did come with us that um didn't have like a blaster for like the weekend and would like want to bring something that's like not going to break the budget, but I don't want necessarily something that's like just 100 FPS. Like, do you guys know something? And we quickly pitched a few ideas. We're like, hey, there's those siren blasters are on sale if you can find it. X shot, long shot, like a quick spring upgrade, plunge or two, you'll be good. And that's what he did. So he spent like $30 and change to like get a loadout for the day that was well over 200 FPS, and it worked just fine. So it
Nice.
was really cool to like have that experience too of like, oh yeah, you can actually just kind of show up with something off of store shelves with like a little work, and you'll be good to play all day because the X shot long shot will definitely survive a day. I'm not gonna tell you it's gonna survive forever once you bought it, but it should survive at least for that length of time. And then of course there are other people who are like, this is 298 with the right darts, so I'm set. And then I also even borrowed Random Shadows original Nerf Caliburn with the machine parts, and for one round I was firing streamlines, and that with not streamlines with half darts was firing about 190. So you can do that too if you want because I have free will, and that was fun. So there was some really cool like old school stuff, some new school stuff too. A lot of half dart variants, some that I was not familiar with, so I learned a little bit of something.
Hmm.
But it was a good time. It was a really good day of play. I think from what I saw, people. I mean, some people got some really good hits on them with 300 FPS, but it was the kind of stuff where you laughed it off, and people knew what they signed up for. So, in this case, yes, no injuries that were very threatening that required a medic, and yes, people did in fact wear their eye protection, which was really cool,
Wait,
unlike
wait.
other events.
So what you're telling me is that you could have shown up with a stock blaster like a Kunlun and
Oh, okay, I did use a stock Quinlan for one of those rounds. Thank you to Containment Crew Charles, which was fun.
nice.
I hadn't actually tested one of those out before, so it was a little bit more useful than I don't know, a toilet blaster on your wrists, which is probably
I did see
in
you
the
dual
thumbnail.
wielding skibbity toilets. What? How did that go?
Love that. He looked
So
cool.
those were brought for the express reason of trying to use them, and I did, and also one of them is modded. So I wanted to at least show off that it wasn't complete trash, but it was only like 100 FPS. So the problem is though, when you are wearing both of them on your arms, you do need to use your other hand to push the button to fire on top, right? Because it's just a pullback and then hit the top
Hmm.
button. So you don't. This doesn't do anything, right? Like this
Right.
is not anything. This is something. But because that T pole is so big in the back too, when you have something on your other hand and you try to finagle your finger to push the button, inevitably part of your hand gets in the way of that T pole moving forward, and you limit your range too. So actually, it was a really terrible loadout. I got 0 tags, but in that round, I was also tagged out 0 times. So I
Oh,
was a net neutral for my team, and
yeah.
basically every time my position got a little bit hot, where I started feeling like people were aiming at me, I just kind of walked away. I didn't have my hands up and be like, I'm out. I just walked away. I walked somewhere else.
See, we've
Mark?
got a question in the comments. Which vintage ammo do you wish to run in a game?
Hmm. Vintage ammo that I haven't run before. I mean, all those kinds of arrows are really fun. Any arrow variant is a good time, just because they can fly really weird, and there's something just iconic about an arrow in a hobby that's still kind of using the word nerf to describe it. So I think that would be cool. Just like more arrows. That's something I don't have, or I've never really had a big collection of. Like I've had a lot of demolished rockets, Mega XL, Mega, and then everything smaller, and then like the one Titan rocket, and then a couple Ultimator-esque rockets, as you're well aware, Shalo. But
Hmm.
then arrows, not
Hmm.
as much. So maybe that's the one.
I would recommend the old Sonic arrows because they didn't whistle. It sounded like a duck call. So it's a fun one. I think I've got two of them, and
I've used
it's a
Zing arrows, but
wild
yeah,
form of
none
ammo.
of those.
Ducks?
I do someday want to run a loadout of foam ducks. Let's see, what other
Oh,
comments do we have? Did you keep any of the
Mark is
plunger
freaking.
darts?
I still have all the plunger darts. I still
Okay.
have the blasters too. It's not like those things got destroyed. I brought them to show off. That was most of the thing. Someone even put a tag out like "Do not use this blaster." They put that on a few blasters, but I was away, and then I came back and someone had put that on one of the blasters. So I couldn't use it anymore. But yeah, it was mostly just to show that these things existed. And I mean, it would have been cool to get a tag, but given the players that were there and what they were using, it would have been fairly difficult. I basically would have had to apply for some sort of modified Jedi rule, and then you're kind of just being like, okay, how far can I stretch this? Hey, I have a YouTube channel thing, and can I get away with this? It's a lot easier when you run the Pacific Northwest Nerf Club, and then you kind of just say, do this or I'll delete the Discord, right? A lot easier that way.
I'd allow it. Actually, I have no idea if the Sonic arrows came with that triple arrow launcher. That would make sense. I also was not aware that the new Brute Pro takes Nightingale mags.
yes.
It took them 3 iterations, but they finally worked it out. Like the first one took, it was an internal magazine, then a proprietary removable magazine, and then a hobby standard magazine. Like, okay, you got there in the end. Well done.
But you know what? They're the
Oh,
only ones. They're the only ones that can take Talon mags now, because does the Talon mag fit in the oh, what's it called? The battery powered pistol.
Venom.
Yes, thank you.
It doesn't. Well, it takes micro or mini talons. It takes the Nightingale
Yeah.
talons.
Venom takes Nightingale.
Yeah. So
Oh, wait a
now,
minute. Wait. I'm sorry. I'm so behind. So the Brute Pro takes Talon, angle Talon mags. I thought it was
it takes Nightingale mags.
Nightly. Okay, yeah. All right,
Yeah, the
I'm
angled
crossed
Nightingale
out now.
mags. The
I will shut up right now.
I wasn't aware of that either.
It's,
That makes it a whole lot more usable.
Andy Griff
Yes.
saying Marky Sparky bow is pretty solid. My son just got one. All right, I did bring one of those to also bring onto the field. I didn't actually end up using it.
The
I
what now?
one of the Marky Sparky bows. So I actually cut off the front of that so I could fire ultra darts, but I ended up not explicitly doing that.
Hmm.
I'm trying to finish right now a tour of Marky Sparky. Shameless plug. I got to go there, see the guy, and see a bunch of stuff. So
Oh,
stay
cool.
tuned, because that was fun and it's been a while. And I'm sorry, it's meant to do that a lot earlier. But yeah, there's some really cool stuff coming out of places that aren't just always like hobby stuff. So bows.
Oh, that is awesome.
Neat.
That
Yeah,
is
no,
very cool.
APOC was a great time. Like I said, I would have played more if I'd felt comfortable doing so, but I think I found a good happy medium. Containment crew Charles gets the biggest thank you for driving me there. It was fun to chat and to see some folks who I hadn't seen in ages or talked to before that had some fun old stories. And yeah, it's cool that an event like that can still bring people out who don't usually go to too much other stuff, but they do kind of save like, that event as like one of the summer things that they'll go to. It's it's hard. It's hard as you get older, as I'm slowly understanding. And a lot of the things they talk about too is as they get older, it's harder to commit to just like games versus like an HVZ versus something that's not nerf related. That not nerf related thing always seems to really take precedence.
So I started combining all three of my hobbies when I travel. So I look for Lego stores, I look for new root beers, and I do Nerf. And if I can't do all three on the trip, it's clearly not worth the trip.
Brian, I don't know if APOC allows Zingbows. I think Zingbows were allowed in Armageddon last year. Imagine they'd still be allowed until someone does something dumb. Maybe Uno has cracked down on that legendary Zingbo action because, yes, I can recall a time when bringing a Zingbo to an event for the first time at like Nobicon back in, 2014, something like early 2010s. And you're like, that's got a lot of mass. That's a pretty solid thunk if you take that to like the head.
Yeah,
but it's the organizer using it, so whatever.
It's just EVA foam on the head. It's not squishy at all.
They were ahead of the
Only
time.
a slight problem. So then after APOC, did you end up going to BPOC? All right, so then BPOC is happens on the Sunday, and it is at a different location. How far away? How far away are the two locations?
The locations are a bit far. Are they 45, 50 minutes away from each other then?
Okay.
Maybe? About that distance. Yeah, the APOC is in Manchester Township.
Yes.
In like
Manchester, yeah.
In New Jersey, and then BPOC is the same place they'll run the TNT events, which is in Clifton, New Jersey. So
and for the record, to clarify for everyone following at home, West Coast is not that far. East Coast, yes, it's very far, as Cap continues to tell me.
Yeah, that's like I could go from California to California still, and it's been 8 hours, but it feels like it's a lot closer than some of these places.
Yes.
Like, wait, how many toll bridges do I have to cross? No, I can't do that. Like, I'll drive 8 hours straight, but I won't do that. So yeah, BPOC is in a slightly different location. I'll break the bad news, guys. We did in fact win. Yeah, I know it's hard to hear. We won the whole thing. Don't look it up. Just take my word for it. Don't look at the stream.
You know what? I was gonna ask. Thank you. See, now
I believe over, you. I trust you implicitly.
That's right. There's an entire live stream that they put on Twitch. You don't need to watch any of it. I'm just gonna tell you what happened. Well, in fact, some of the teams were so intimidated they didn't even show up. So
it happens.
Yeah, it's hard, but hey, it's a burden you got to bear sometimes. I know we tied for fifth or something like that, but it was a great time, and I cannot sing the praises of the organizers enough, even though it is a bit biased because they're friends. But just the amount of hustling that people do to get this thing set up and disassembled when they're on the clock is just nothing short of impressive. I know I've been able to now see, different events do it. Like, Maryland was probably like the biggest showcase of it that I first saw. I unfortunately didn't get to go this year, so I don't, know exactly what it looked like this year. So let's be nice and say I can't exactly compare to Maryland. It's so different. My memory is so fuzzy. But there's that, and then there's Rag has their setup outside too, which is an added challenge. But man, the amount of stuff that they had here was amazing, and the setup that they have for the booth for the people who are on stream, the cameras on the side of the field that they can switch to, the camera operator who was running up and down the field, getting like footage of people, like next to them. insane. Like, those are the unsung heroes that you're just like, are you okay? Like, are you taking your break? Because you're running more than these teams, because you're actually going up and down the lines almost every round. So, oh,
Look at that, Andrew.
Buck is better than MFT. Oh, whoops.
Let's hope that
That's-
his other admins don't see that he just said that.
That's pretty brutal. I guess, yeah, no comment needed from me then. No, it's amazing, and the production quality speaks for itself too. Again, yes, you can go and rewatch the stream. They streamed it on Twitch. It's very rewatchable still. You can jump around between some of the matches. They did a really smart thing, which I think they did at Rag too, where they brought on a rotating cast of commentators. So while there were some people who, did have a more permanent role, like organizing and then, sitting in the booth to commentate on the rounds, they did also have people who were players for the day make their way into the booth at various times, be it after they'd already played a match or, in anticipation for something else coming up. But, the people who actually know what's happening and are really tapped into, the people who are their opponents, their teammates, the field itself, right? Because once they've got all those camera angles, it's just so easy to switch between the viewpoints and be like, oh yeah, like that's been a real sore spot for us today. Or there goes that same person running the field and sneaking up behind someone. Man, he's done that like 3 times. And they've got the statistics pulled up too. It's just like, it's next level. It's impressive. So
what you're
really
saying? They're ready for
commentate for a bit.
They're ready for the Ocho.
Yeah,
there we go.
I think they're ready for some more funding too.
There it is.
Give these people some money. They did a little they did a momentum raffle as well, which was kind of just a nice way to donate to the folks who are organizing. So they've had a lot of community support, putting this together. It really doesn't work without the community support because again, like the people who organized it are players like Jason, Jeg, Gotham, but then there are also people who are there the entire day who are never going to step foot on a field. They're only there to be refs or set up the screen, check all that stuff, flip between the camera angles, and then people who are volunteering their time to count the darts and just make sure they're ready to clean stuff up for when it's all over because it's a tight timetable and get the food for people, for the people who are organizing this stuff so they don't go hungry. Make sure there's water available. And so, yeah, very, very well organized. And I can see why people are very enthusiastic to come out for that one. Very happy to do their quick dart sweeps. They want to get back on the field and play. The organization this time, they had 2 separate round robins. So they had 14 teams, 12. Oh dear, I forgot. It's one of those 2. They had 2 different round robins, and so they'd go back and forth between teams playing. You'd play the number of teams in your group first. So that meant that you were guaranteed 6. Okay, there's 14 teams, pretty sure. I'm gonna commit to that one. I'm locking that in. We got to play against 6 different teams to start with, and then they picked the top 3 performing teams from each bracket, and those were the ones that then competed for the finals to pick a winner. So it was guaranteed, a good number of matches. You didn't come and lose and then you're out. You definitely were guaranteed a good amount of play, which meant that you could learn a lot. You could do really well and then really screw up and then do well again. A lot of opportunity there. And you were able to also watch just so many other teams during the day too, which was a lot of fun because they go pretty fist. They go pretty fast. They're fast round. They're action packed. They're interesting to watch. You're not sitting around and kind of trying to figure out what's going on. It's like if you blink, it's over. Someone just swept the field. Didn't even notice. And
what game
is like?
What game mode are they playing?
Exactly what I forgot. A hot pot. So basically, the goal is like elimination, but there's always a win condition. If it has to be like figured out with like you're out of ammo. So the hot pot in the center is a bucket that activates after 45 seconds, and so once it's active, if you go and press it for 3 seconds, you will win. So there are instances where, someone will be pinned down maybe somewhere else or no one's paying attention. You sneak in there, you hold for 3, you win. So there's 2 ways to win. It's not a flag dash. There's no benefit of running across the other team's starting line unless you really want to get out on their home turf. But you can run to their back line and really make things interesting. Spicy hot pot. Okay, that's what they're kind of referring to it as. So yeah, it's a quick round. It's not a marathon like Rags King of the Hill in the past, and it's not the point analysis that is flag dash. No offense, just it's a very simple like do this or do this, and they were only recording like the points that mattered, at least that they used, I think, for advancement were mostly like if you won the round, you got a point. If you lost, you got no points. If you tied, like the stalemate, no points. So you wanted to actually win. You wanted to get a point. They did keep track of a few other metrics, which was really cool. And like for our team, Smog, we actually ended up winning the Clean AF award, which I think meant in front of me, least amount of like other team. If we lost or if we won, the other team didn't score as many points. Please correct me in the chat, TNT. But it was like, oh, cool. Like we definitely didn't win like overall, or we definitely didn't win like number of wins for like the day, but we happened to win this other really weird metric. How about that? Like they kept track of that kind of stuff.
I like it.
Same.
Yeah, it was fun. No, it was really, really cool. And there were 2 pickup teams. We got stomped by one of those pickup teams in one of our later rounds. So like you can't argue with a good time when people can kind of just come together and work really well, even if it was one person who runs the field with like a really cool blaster. Like everyone gets that experience. So yeah, it's definitely still an event where you can kind of come and show up and try something new. You don't have a team, you can still come and try to play with people or don't know. I'm sure they'll leave that open in the future because I don't think there's any legacy like invite for teams. And a lot of the teams that did come to this switched it up. Quite literally, they switched up their roster and then they switched up their jerseys. They exchanged jerseys for the day. So you had people who some teams had their correct jerseys on for like what they were playing, and then other teams were literally like one jersey from a bunch of different teams that were there that day, and it wasn't even their jersey. So people were just really screwing around, and it was in the best of ways.
All right, that's good. So wait, remind us, who'd you play for and who won the tournament for those that don't know or forgot or me.
So I played for Team Smog. That is a team that I helped kind of found back in one of the earlier Maryland Mayhems. So I've had an open invite from the organizers since that time, and it also helps that some of the main players for that team were a little busy that day, aka running everything. So they were unable to play. Thus, there was some open slots, and so I took it upon myself to join that team. I would have been fine playing with anyone, obviously, but this was also still a very unique team. I'd never played with them before, so I think we did very well. I learned a lot. I learned more about how I would want to play in the future, different blasters. So it was a lot of fun. I did some coaching too. And the team that won, I just can't. I remember. I think we won actually. I think I said that.
Yeah.
I think it was us. Yeah.
Victorious Team Smog.
The team that won, I'm pretty sure, was Tragic Cope, which is a play on Magic Smoke.
Oh.
So, if you look at the names of the teams that were there, and some of them changed their logos for it too, it was all variations on existing teams. It was very funny. Tragic Cope, I think, happened to be just some of the tallest people from these competitive teams, and they put them all on one team. I don't know if that was the goal, but that just seemed to be what happened. And you'd think that would give a good opportunity to tag out those tall people, and it really did not. So, unfortunate.
I think so. What I wanted to mention before, but this is actually a perfect tie-in. So as we began the show, we talked about in terms of the lane or like the vibe you do with your videos and how you approach it, and it's again that dichotomy. As much as you look for like the fun off the wall, where it doesn't really matter if you win, your aspect is to have fun in the hobby. But at the same time, you participate and are and a very good player too in on the competitive scene. So it's also that you don't have to be one or two. You can be all of these things. That's the whole point of why we're in this and why it's so accepting. It's because there's so many things you can be, so many ways you can approach this. There's so many things you can do it. From example, the camera operator to someone keeping score to refing to playing in the game. So I think you were a great example of that, where you actually both dichotomies, where sometimes it's mistaken. Well, it shows the people that just don't take it seriously or the ones that take it very seriously. Yet you're like right in the middle, like, no, no, this is me.
Yeah, I've had this conversation with a lot of people, especially recently too, because it ties into new releases and it ties into certain events. It's like I'd love to be able to play all of it. My experience came from just playing with some friends in the park, and we learned about modding, but we loved the this is a video game in real life kind of thing. Darts flying at you, and you can just like within reason backflip away from it, and you're like, haha, I'm a ninja now. How awesome is that? And so,
Yes.
I've always loved that kind of goofiness of it, of course. And then as the competitive stuff has grown over time, you're like, oh wait, this is like organized, and I can use like this specific like style of blaster for it, and they can, you can kind of scratch that competitive itch. Oh, that's really cool. And I'd love to see more development of that over time, where it kind of those kinds of niches really start to the niche becomes more of a niche, like, right? So people who used to play were like super serious, and you're like, maybe you met them in like an HVZ, right, which is a bit more of a LARPing thing. You go to that
Mhm.
maybe more for the story. The loadout is a little less important for some of the people who really care about the HVZ. They care more about like, well, this doesn't make sense story wise, or this is what I want to do so it accomplishes the mission. Those who come from that background really care about a certain thing. And competitive players who play HVZ, maybe not. But now there are so many more opportunities where you can kind of just focus in on the thing you really want to focus on. And so I like to be able to do that. I know if it's available, I like to explore it. But I don't want to just have to pick or choose one only. That's what'll make me sad. Like if I
Yes.
had to only play competitive Nerf for the rest of my days, I probably wouldn't. I probably would find myself transitioning to a different hobby just because, to put it bluntly, they've got it a bit more dialed in. Maybe it would be a reality check to play with some of those people, but we're still forming things a lot in the Nerf scene. So the people obviously make it a pretty solid foundation. That's
Yes.
obviously the biggest draw sometimes. But I do love to be able to hop between the two of those, which means yes, I can turn the competitive play like on and more strategically and think about that stuff and call outs. Like it makes sense to yell at someone on the field. It's like go, like go home, go home, go home. Like fill bucket, like do this, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not doing that like at a regular game. Like if I start yelling at someone at a regular game, what am I doing? Like, don't do that. It's just like even APOC, APOC is technically, a high FPS game, but doesn't mean you're barking orders at people. Doesn't mean I have to show up like I'm ready for war. Not gonna like dress like I'm a soldier and be like, all right, guys, here's what we're going to do today, and we're going to win the day. It's like I might go 0-5, and that might be the best round ever. And hey,
Yep.
look at some of my old Borscht gameplay. To get some of those tags like would get, you did have to go like 10 deaths and then you get your one single tag. But that's a lot of fun. It's so different, and it frustrates me when some people don't recognize the difference because it starts to impact how other people play too. So I like it when our casual games can actually be games where new folks are in fact feeling welcomed. Right, they feel encouraged to get on the field. It's easy to give them a loner blaster and have at it. And if they don't like it, that's still totally fine. But I definitely don't want, something that turns people off is that someone else is like, telling them what to do and like getting upset at them for not playing the objective, or, not understanding how the lives work because, you should just get this. And also why did you load those darts in that magazine? Are you dumb? Like, do you not even play? Oh, wait, yeah, actually, that's what it is. So, yeah, like it's different if you're doing competitive. You there's a different expectation if you go into that kind of stuff. But there should still always be kind of that like allowance room for people to kind of like, okay, learn a little bit of time, understand it, but then know what to expect. Because when you get onto a comp field, yeah, the game's different, and that's just what it is, and that's okay. But also don't bring that kind of like gameplay into HVZ. You don't have to. It can be a bit more laid back. We are not trying to kill these people. The zombies are doing a really good job of just trying to survive the elements of that day too. Just it's okay.
Now,
Take the tag and you can come back as one.
you're absolutely correct, and it's a good transition because it's like, well,
Rant
when you
over.
said, yeah, no, that's good, but it's funny because it's the clarification. What you're talking about exactly is perfect, but then just so people don't confuse it, like in terms of like when Captain Xavier shows up and he's doing his full deployment, he is barking orders at people, but that is very different. That is still part of the gameplay. That's part of the idea, as opposed to him taking it seriously. Am I wrong, Cap? Like, you know what I mean, Cap?
Yeah, like at an HVZ, if I'm barking orders at people, it's people who specifically signed up to have orders barked at them.
Yes.
I don't yell orders at random people who aren't gonna, who didn't sign up to be yelled at.
Yes.
One, they're probably not gonna have any idea what I'm asking them to actually do. And two,
Yes.
yeah, that's not if that's not how they want to play. It's not right for me to, to force that on them. Back when I got to play a lot more at Borst because I wasn't running the games, like once a game, like a day, I would pick one round and actually properly organize it. And I kind of quit doing that because it always resulted in a horrifically lopsided result. Like we'd play, usually if you play the capture the balls game, it would be 50 on this side, 48 on that side, something like that. It was usually fairly close. The rounds where I organized it, it would be something like 90-5, and that isn't fun for anybody. It's if you're out there to want to win and really show how good you are and stroke your ego, yeah, it does that. But the team that's getting absolutely stomped, they're not having fun. And the team doing the stomping, honestly, you're not having as much fun as you would if it was a closer match either. So, yeah, that's not, as Brett said, that's not the right place for that. There are places for that type of gameplay. And if you want to run a Nerf war that's that level of intensity, you can, but it needs to be clear from the get-go that this isn't a casual public event. This is meant to be a competitive war-style event. You can do that, sure. But, when it's the little ones where random people are showing up because you're at the park or it's advertised as a family-friendly and there's little kids, that's not the place for that. It just doesn't, be aware of that.
Yeah, that's on us too. Like when it comes to approaching other people's events, we are the ones with knowledge. We're the ones who walk the toy store shelves and are like, we know the differences here. That person looking between the two different, blasters, like, I bet they don't even know that one is like pro and only takes half darts and the other one doesn't. It's like, yeah, so see previous example. If you're going to this large family-friendly event that involves hundreds of people and it's an AT&T stadium, just don't bring the pro thing. Like, you know better. Like, you don't have to do that. And
yeah, because it's not like it's gonna help you win. There's no winning Jared Epic Nerf.
You
battle.
can only lose. You can only, in fact, lose. But then, like, yeah, I also fully recognize that when it comes to organizing games, we know the challenge. It's the people, the venue. If you don't have one of those, it falls apart. But then once you get it once, it's like you have to decide. Okay, now what kind of game is it? And if people don't have the variety they're for and they don't have the established club, then you do have to start somewhere. And if you start at a higher level, then yeah, it's going to be a little more difficult to invite. It's going to be a little bit more difficult to appeal to new people who that's the nerf. But if you start at the lower end, then the people who have their $500 builds are going to be like tapping their feet, like, so, because not appropriate for me to play at. Like, your FPS cap is too low or something. So it's like, well, which one do you do? Well, it really depends, and it depends on what the preference is, and as long as you make it clear, then that should be okay. But yeah, the people that have been, not gonna name names, but the people who basically use like more casual style events to practice for competitive are the ones that are really getting under my skin. Just
Hmm.
go for the fun of it. I know the FPS cap might be something where you see it's close enough to practice, but that's a child next to you. Don't yell at the child to get off the field because they're not taking their hits. They don't get it. Have patience, and yes, it's okay to save your competitive blaster for an actual competitive practice day. So
See, like for example, what Maryland's done because of that, and they've been good about it, where it definitely solidifies so that people aren't using the regular play for that. Is that at every Maryland event they have a separate field set up for those that want to play more competitively, want to practice, run drills, or anything else like that. So it's kind of like come out to an event if you're ready, go play with them. Don't try to hunt and shoot the 7-year-old over there. So they were, I think because of they also realize that they don't want to do that, but they want to have it happen, so they've been separated. And so I guess with the increase of competitive play, I guess different groups around the country, if that's happening, maybe set up a separate field or a separate time for that to help minimize and eliminate that.
Yeah, we have a
and
group here that
we always
runs an
need them.
event. Yeah, have an event called Bucket that doesn't have an FPS cap. But it's also played in the woods with extreme engagement ranges. And everyone who goes to it knows you're playing at a game where people might have 350, 400 FPS blasters. You know, I've been tempted to go in a ghillie suit with my mammoth and see if I can get a tag.
Yeah.
Just
'Cause
lie
we
in the
always-
ground all day waiting for that one perfect shot. Kablam!
Yeah, and it's like, then that's totally your choice. That's exactly what those
Yeah.
events are for. The people who are in the know, and oftentimes it brings out the people. Sometimes that can be what re-inspires people who've been out of the hobby for years to get back into it, right? But we always need that pipeline of, do I say it like this? New blood, right? Yeah. So here it comes again. Jared's epic blaster battle. We can joke about it all we want for X, Y, and Z reasons, but darn it, does that not get the kids excited? And that means that they pay attention to more stuff in the future. Oh no, is
Nope.
this the hobby's biggest advertising pitch out there? I'm not sure about that, but yeah, if it's something that gets little ones excited and they want to keep exploring it in the future because they get to see some other stuff or they see some crazy build or some crazy outfit. Deadpool has a Nerf gun. And yes, they're calling it that. I call it a blaster. I know. Don't at me.
No, he said it. We're going to be shut down in the next
I
5
know.
minutes.
Yeah, sorry. I'm the reason the stream goes
But-
down.
It's all right. We made it 3/4 of the way through. Now it's all done.
Wait, what?
Yeah, that was one of the things that I noticed early on in the hobby, and it was kind of more. I think it was more obvious to me because I had come from such a diverse background of the hobby, of doing public Nerf wars, of doing HVZ, of doing full immersion LARPs, of doing other things like medieval recreation and all of that. I played a little bit of all of it, and you'd see people who only played one small aspect, but from how they interacted on the internet, you would think that was the only part of the Nerf hobby that existed, and they got very upset when they saw something from another section, or because like again, if they were only doing high competitive stuff, trying to go for that 500 FPS cap or whatever, and they see somebody happily building a 120 FPS blaster, they would get on there and would give them grief about, you could do this and this, and you could get up to 400. I'm like, my dude, I'm using this at an HVZ. The FPS cap is 120. Why would I build it any higher? And they just couldn't understand that there was another side of the game that existed. And one of the other places we see this, and it's more understandable, is when the folks from the full immersion LARP world bring their realistic looking blasters. Now, in a full immersion LARP, it would be bad to have a brightly covered Nerf blaster because it would ruin the immersion. But bringing that super realistic blaster to a public Nerf war is obviously a problem. And most people are intelligent enough to understand one belongs in one place and one belongs in the other. But on the internet, it all mixes. And then you get people that are throwing a fit because somebody painted their Nerf blaster real and it's going to be terrible. And you're like, yes, I'm using it in a full immersion LARP in Germany. I'm not going to get shot by the cops. But the argument of, yes, but if a small kid sees this and thinks it's cool and he paints his Nerf blaster and takes it out on the streets in Chicago, he might get shot by the cops. And understanding the differences is something that a lot of people used to have a lot more trouble with that seems to have gotten a lot better. And I like that. And I think it's largely because of how more aware people are of all the different aspects. And the fact that we have events that'll have 3 different aspects of the hobby in one 3-day long event makes that even more clear. Having the HVZ and the Nerf War and the comp all together. I remember at Maryland this year, there were some guys who had only ever played comp who signed up for the HVZ. And their mind was just completely blown at how completely different of a game it was, but how much fun it still was.
Yep.
And it was really cool to see. It's like this. I mean, they were just like, they're everywhere. I don't know what's going on. And you're like, yeah.
And there's no cover.
Yeah. There's no cover. You're not safe anywhere. That is correct. I keep tagging him and he keeps coming back. Yeah, that's what zombies do. You never run out of zombies.
Hour and 15-minute rounds, not 3-minute rounds.
Yeah. You're going to want to conserve that ammo, buddy. I shot 20 darts. I got a tag. Oh.
You can almost win without firing anything.
I tell you. So, Brett, then, are you going to... So, obviously, it's not, as we talked about, mentioned earlier, sometimes it's difficult planning to go to... Sorry. I got family waving at me. I'm waving at everybody here. Anyways.
What's the dog doing?
What was I going to say? Are you going to make it out to RAG this year? Have you decided, or you're not sure yet?
I've told people for a while that I was working on it. It's a bit more difficult to swing. Unfortunately, I have come to the decision that I am going to be there. So yes, I will be there.
Tragic.
Nice.
Skip RAG, go to Mall Madness. It's way better.
It's
also much closer.
I could tell you. I don't know if I know when that is though. Is that this year or is that next year?
It's 2 weeks after RAG.
Okay, so that answers that question. Well, now I know. We were talking about this before. I need to make a list of anything that's actually coming up this year. So I can
it's the weekend after RAG.
The weekend after RAG, yes.
Or not my fault if he can't remember it. He's putting me on the spot. I will be at RAG. I will not be at the competitive day, but I will be at the convention and the HVZ. I was originally thinking last year I was pretty big on like, I'll play a zombie. That should be fun. This year, I'm debating on a few different loadouts that will be, dumb. They're not going to be in line with the theme, most likely. If it comes up, maybe I'll try. I don't think any of them actually work. It's cowboy theme, right? So there's a lot of, like the wearable skippy toilet blasters still like in the runnings. I don't remember if I put full lengths or half lengths on my registration. I did already pay for the event and I did already submit that. So I have committed to some ammo type. I just don't remember right now. So I should probably choose a loadout that works with that. But yeah, I'll bring some stuff for the convention. I don't think I'm going to have a booth. I think I'm just going to float and do some stuff. So that'll be fun to see folks. And then, yeah, just play the HVZ for fun. Be a good time. And then hopefully I follow that there are changes for the competitive day. So I guess I'm not the guy to talk about what they are, but I know it's a little bit different than the previous year. So I wish people a good time for that one because I don't believe it's King of the Hill this year. So the game has changed.
I'm looking forward to seeing what changes they've made for Mall Madness since they skipped last year so that they could be prepared.
Okay, so that's last year was the year they skipped. This year it's on.
They skipped last year.
No, time has not gone that fast. I seem to remember that when that was announced, but yeah, there's so many things. There's so many things, and especially when you recognize that you have the potential to travel, everything seems a little bit closer. So, I mean, I saw that there was uh, 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 uh what, shoot, what's the Europe event? Um, I just saw footage from it. And I just forgot the
Oh,
name of it.
BlasterCon? No,
Uh,
I've been there.
yeah, I would love to go to that one day. That would be super cool.
Yeah,
And
it
I
is.
don't know when that would be possible, but it's like, but I could. So it's like maybe I'll try, but probably not until I got a better understanding of like that has to be like something you put in the calendar and you commit to it early versus some of these other ones. Now I have a little bit more flexibility locally. It'll be fun. So hoping to do some more East Coast based events in the near future. I'm looking at potentially Battle of Endor. I've heard good things about that one. So that would be fun. That one's in Maryland. Um, I guess I can go in my stormtrooper-esque attire for that. The not the Party City stormtrooper outfit, which is now rare, I think, because I think Party City is dead. So, I gotta use the good stuff. What else is coming end of this year? Maybe I'll have a battle in actual snow. Whoa, that'd be cool. Snow that doesn't suck.
Been a while. The last time I nerfed in the snow was Warden.
Fest. I just remembered it. Foam
What?
Fest. That's what
Foam
Fest
Fest.
is.
That's the one. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yes. Foam Fest was awesome. I got to go one year. It was good stuff.
Much to go again. Man, I forgot about it. Gross.
Up, you nasty.
No way. Might as well be on the New York subway. What is this?
No, come on.
Yeah.
So, question: do you have any super secret projects you're working on that you're not supposed to tell anybody, but you're going to tell us anyways because we're such nice people and you just can't help yourself and want to tell us?
As I'm sure you're kind of aware, we talked about all the different things that I do. The things that I definitely don't do involve like many mods. So I never really have a secret blaster project coming up. I did buy something recently, which I think will be another funny review or blaster to use. We'll see. There's some stuff coming my way in the near future that isn't super secret, but I guess I'm going to keep it secret enough. Mostly what I am working on right now is trying to put out videos that I had committed to earlier that I had footage of that I haven't been able to totally finish. One of those is a tour of Marky Sparky Toys, which was earlier this year. So I am trying to put that out and finish it by the end of this week. It was a really cool experience, and I've really enjoyed being able to like go places and like talk with people and just kind of see stuff. So like I did a tour of Out of Darts, which I love to be very familiar with, but it was really cool to like present that to people who'd never seen it. And I'm hoping to do some more of that kind of stuff in the near future.
Al's been
I was
to
able to, huh?
Al's been to Out of Darts.
Oh yeah,
I've been there.
that's no secret.
It's a great place. If you can make it there and they'll let you in, great. If they don't let you in, don't argue. Just stand outside and just be thankful you're there.
Order something, and you'll have an
We
excuse to
looted
look
the
for your
place.
order. Yeah,
Ravaging
The place.
Visigoths.
Canadians, man.
Croatians, man.
And Croatians.
Yeah, just some more video projects that I'm working on. I told you I went to the Epic Blaster Battle for a reason, and I gotta work on that video, completing my peak ultra loadout, which they're hard to hold a handful of, but man, does ultra fight for some relevance now with N series. I don't know, rose tinted or ultra tinted glasses. That's for darn sure. Um, and then I gotta work on some footage from APOC and BPOC because I record some stuff there, and I think it'll be fun to share.
Excellent.
That's mostly what I try to do, just share stuff. I'm trying to get a silver play button. It's really hard.
Yeah, I got mine and just really didn't grow much after that, which is nice. I leveled out. Just enough to get people to send me stuff, but not enough to have to actually do anything.
It's a good goal to have. I've decided. But yeah, it's been, that's the biggest challenge about just kind of making whatever you want to make. And when it comes to like not just showing off new blaster builds, when it's kind of more in the entertainment space, it can be very subjective. So I'm sure people will want to see a review from me when it comes to the Breacher, and they might really find it interesting if I shoot hot dogs out of it. So like, that could be fun. But
yes,
I
it would
also
be.
really want to, Hot Dog Thunder 2. I also really want to, do some other stuff that other people aren't doing that, just appeals to me because my preferences change over time. So, I've just tried to keep that as like motivation to stay passionate about the hobby. And obviously, I go to events as they come up, but the video stuff, that's the hardest thing to keep consistent if you aren't really liking it. I always like them, but the videos can obviously be the challenge to really like stick with over the years in comparison.
Yeah, I was doing.
Go ahead, Cap.
I did really well for quite a few years of keeping a very regular video schedule with very regular series, and then life happened, and I've never quite gotten back to my old schedule. One, work got a lot busier. I actually have to work during the day now. It's rubbish.
That is craziness.
That'll do it.
It's just inconsiderate having to put in a full 8 hours of work.
How dare they? But I was going to say, back to the hot dogs. I know a guy that has some foam that could shape it so that you could put a hot dog in it and launch it that way. So, just saying.
Wouldn't be that hard to design. Yeah, a foam hot dog.
See, there we go.
Just need some pink EVA foam.
We have a collaboration. We have a collaboration between the two of you here. You and your jigs and him and his hot dogs, and we're going, man. We are cruising. Make the the rocket look like a bun that you can put a hot dog in. So it's a bun with fins that the hot dog puts in.
No, you 3D print buns that hold the hot dogs on your loadout. There. You take the hot dog out and you load it.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, there's been a lot of development in the food-esque, specifically hot dog firing worlds of foam dart blasters. So we've made so much progress.
Would a Vienna sausage be basically a half dart at that point? The analog
rapid fire, yes.
I've seen people steer away from those in comparison. Not that it's impossible, but typically they want a larger caliber slug.
Fair.
It's the hot dog, yeah.
So what we need is something that can launch the full unsliced bologna.
The bologna blaster. The
bologna loaf.
What is that? It's bologna.
Or a disc shooter firing slices of bologna.
Oh, wait, actually, which reminds me. So then, well, I know you got one on order. So, Brett, have you seen the Jericho yet?
I've seen a Jericho, yes.
So what we need is someone. Yeah. So we need someone to design a hot dog shell for the Jericho.
Pretty sure that's just Mega XL, which it already has, or Mega. Just Mega, I think. What caliber is a hot dog, man?
Depending on the hot dog you're buying.
Mega, I think actually, or Rival actually is the one.
Pretty sure they've got shells for both of that. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go.
Yeah. We had somebody with a Jericho at Borst this week and got himself into a little hot water because he unloaded at someone at closer range than would be considered polite.
Oh, yeah, that's bad.
Put 27 darts to the front.
Oh man, that's like
make you a little salty. The guy did have the forethought. Just I'll step off the field before I say something mean.
That's kind of like when the kid with the proton pack unloads at you from 3 feet. It's like
it's like like small controlled burst, kid. Small controlled burst.
Yeah, not everything, and not at 4 feet.
That was always the funniest thing about kids who thought they could wield a Prometheus. They're like, my hand is on the trigger and it is not coming off. And they're like, oh my gosh, it's a powerful blaster. It got 200 rounds. And it's like, yeah, be out in 20 seconds. Like, they're in trouble because okay, I thought about this earlier, and it's not really a video idea I want to actually go on to one day, but I always thought it would be funny if you could get like like one gorilla versus 100 people. What if it was like one man versus 100 kids and they all had blasters? The way that you get back at them is when they have to reload because you can reload faster. Um, anyways, I was like, it's always the reload. Sorry about that tangent. That's what I've been thinking about today.
And see, this is
It's
why I
always the
developed.
reload.
This is why I developed a proton pack that holds 10 gallons of rival.
Yeah.
Reloading is for suckers. I want 3,500 rounds of ammunition. I don't want to have to pick up 3,500 rounds of ammunition, but I want it.
The Garden Weasel Elite, the ones that would follow you around like the red guard.
Get the big push one, yeah, the 4 foot wide one.
Or you just say, by the way, these I just donated these to the club, so take them.
Rival's expensive, man.
Oh yeah,
Get a leaf blower, blow it into a corner, pick it up with a shovel.
There it is, with the
people
shovel,
will
man.
Be very thankful for your donation. In fact, it'll be so thankful it may not even make it to the community bucket. It'll just someone else took it. Because Rival has magical powers like that.
Yeah, it's that's true.
I hope it still exists for that reason.
Possibly.
Has it been long enough? Can we say Rival is dead again and then have another wave of blasters come out, and so we can say Rival's not dead again?
If that will work, then I will happily say it. Yeah, if that's what'll keep it.
Let's manifest it, man. Rival is dead. We've known forever. It is dead. It is officially dead. We know it's been dead. So bury it, people. Stop talking about it. Rival is dead. Take that, Nerf and Hasbro. Did I mention that it's dead? Yes.
So I need to order a bunch of the cheap ammo off Amazon. Well, I still can.
Well, the Overwatch blasters, the new Overwatch blasters aren't Rival, so what are we gonna do?
I mean, they're not even really Overwatch blasters. They're just, they decided to put Nerf blasters in Overwatch 2, which is a neat concept. There's a character that has Mavericks. That's fun.
Yeah.
But I like the long Maverick. That's pretty cursed. But it's a good curse.
I mean, it's good that they're sticking with their roots. I do appreciate that.
The long Maverick fires and one darts, though.
Yeah. Yeah, which is just cursed.
Come on, man.
When I saw a picture of it, I searched for it. I remember back in like 2008, I saw a picture of like someone with an extended barrel mod for a Maverick, where they'd taken like two Mavericks, they cut off the front of one, they put that on the front of another Maverick. The cylinder was extra long. I would assume you had to ramrod a dart in there. But I, for the life of me, could not find it recently because I wanted to compare it just to be like, they did it. But now I'm spewing nonsense. It's like, it's just up here. I think I imagined it.
Agreed.
So,
I did my review of the Galactic Commander, and it's worse than I thought. So it isn't compatible with old barrel attachments. It is compatible with old stocks, but the new stock isn't compatible with old blasters. And it may or may not be compatible with old rail attachments. I haven't checked. Someone said it wasn't.
It's like, come on, man.
Come on, has-been. What are you doing?
You don't have the market demand, like you don't own the world like you did like years ago. You gotta adapt. Whatever.
Anyway.
Meanwhile, Dartzone comes out with their own Nightingale mags. Like, do we see a difference? Who's gaining market share? Who keeps losing market share? Can I say that out loud?
I feel like the loadout line would have been a cool first attempt for N series, because what struck me as so underwhelming was just all those first blasters were so kind of like the shapes, the styles. You just kind of looked at them and it's like something was off. At least the loadout line, when it was kind of like announced, when you start to look more into it, you're like, Okay, there's a lot of reshelling going on here, but at least like step back, you're like, this looks cool, and the Galactic Commander looks cool.
Oh yeah,
It seems to function, which is good, but like
one of
that's
the
the
better select fire blasters they've actually made. Yeah,
they
but
gotta. It's like if they're announcing a new line, they gotta make it like this is why it's so much cooler, and it's hard to. I mean, yeah. Then those who know who are like, oh, but Modulus was made more sense because these attachments actually made sense to swap and it was close enough color wise. The argument falls apart pretty quickly. But at least if they hit you with something that's like these are some wacky new out of this world designs, maybe people will give them a try. And with cross compatible attachments, even if they don't look very good on each other, it's something. Instead, we got the pinpoint. Um, one loves a pinpoint,
Yeah,
just despicable.
it is, man. It
and the
is.
ward kind of works.
Somebody needs to come out with a new rocket launcher. We haven't had a big rocket launcher in a long time.
I feel like it's going to be X shot. I don't know if Dark Zone will do it. Nerf will be something stupid. It'll probably be X shot.
Still surprising that none of them have done like another mega, and that only Busby did, and that it's been so long since that even happened.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it just comes down to the market where someone's
Or-
looked at Nerf's numbers in terms of sales and not worth then putting the money into it to create it. It's
yeah, a bunch of them did Rival.
The only thing that made sense, I guess.
Could be,
Who
but
knows?
no one's shown me the books yet, so
Yeah. I mean, I obviously
maybe one
recognize
day.
the potential for cutting it in half. Like, we'll cut our darts in half, but we won't change up the ammo type beyond that. Wow, how brave. How brave to
It's
not change.
Yeah, I would love to see an X shot blast Zuka.
something. That'd be
Yeah.
great.
I would love to talk to some of those people. That's one thing I've been trying to do more recently is just reach out and just have a conversation. And man, I don't know if I'm on a list or this is just how the world works, but like I get nothing. I know that Nerf is a black box. They're very tight-lipped. There are reasons. It makes sense. But like I would love to, yeah, talk with someone at X Shot, be like, hey, what do you think? Like what's your take on like this hobby or like what are your goals and stuff. It doesn't have to be the CEO. It's like PR people who are willing to speak about that stuff. I think it'd be a good look for them, like if they can share that out there. Like Xshot literally recognizes that we're worth paying attention to. The piston pump got a pretty good like release to people for reviewers, and then it's been pretty well received, so they're obviously onto something. um
I feel
I
like
don't
Dart
know.
Zone is as well.
Yeah, I need to talk to Dartzone again. We haven't talked in a while.
Yeah, I need to reach out to my two. I've got an X shot contact and a Dart Zone contact, and I need to reach out to them and go, hey, where's my? Yeah, 'cause I don't like to be the person who's reaching out to a representative, going, hey, where's my free stuff? I like it when a representative reaches to me and go, hey, would you like some free stuff? And then I go, absolutely. But reaching out to them feels grubby.
It
Yeah.
might be different shifts in how they're approaching things, but
Yeah.
for like the touch on the Dart Zone one again, X shot with the piston pump. I think they're the ones that really broke the mold, and we talked about this in past. In past, is that none of the big makers figured that they could make an AEB for less than $150, and then here comes X shot at $70, and it's robust and functional. So with them kind of cracking that seal, all of them now own PPs and are also have taken it apart. So now it's figuring out how do we make our own version of this, not step on someone's copyright, and we'll probably see a couple more come out as a result of it. But like for example, Dart Zone, the fact that we're having a belt felt short dart LMG that's 130 FPS, like thank
Someone's
you.
coming out with
Like what?
a Bren gun looking thing. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, it's like.
But yeah, we
cow,
definitely
man.
want to see a Dart Zone and a worker AEB. We want to see Dart Zone and worker lever action.
Yeah.
Pro. We want to see. We want. We're never happy. We're never satisfied.
No. Now,
We want more
gentlemen,
hammer primed.
always. Super Hammer Prime. It is about that time.
It is.
Brett,
We got a minute.
I know. Brett, anything you want to share with people? Any last minute things, or actually tell people where they can find you?
Yeah, who are you?
I sure hope they don't find me. How I try to move often so that they don't in fact do that.
That's why it's in such a generic room. Jose Monkey couldn't find him.
Yeah, someone once mailed me a letter, and their point was to be like, "Hey, did you know that your information is out there? And the point of this letter is to prove that some people might be able to find it, but I'm a good person, so that's why I did it."
I would just not send the letter, man. Like, come
The
on.
most
Creepy.
wild thing I've ever received. And anyways, because I didn't have a public like PO box or anything like that.
Yeah.
Something I haven't shared in a while, and for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
No, it was fine. They can find me online, beret.narf, because Nerf is special. Someone else owns that. Instagram, YouTube. I guess I have a TikTok login. I realized I can cross post there when I'm not getting angry comments. Love that app so much. The best app that's
Yes.
ever been invented. It's a wonderful place. I think that's it. Do I have anywhere else? No. That's it. Yeah, just those. I try to be active. And you can also find me at games, most likely.
But we're gonna find you at Bragg, but then also we'll probably find you at Endor, Battle of Endor in Maryland, hopefully.
I'm gonna try. to put that one on my calendar. Yeah, I think that'd be fun.
Perfect. Cap, man, do you have any final thoughts before we sign us out of here?
I didn't have any starting thoughts.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's awesome. One quick side note for the locals, especially do the con scene. And I've been on their stream a couple of times. Is a small company, well, a small group of guys called Loading Snacks. They're based in Maryland, and they do all the kind of conventions and do videos. And I've been featured a couple of times right at my booth. And it's about 3 or 4 guys, and they're great people. They got BlurredCon coming up, and one of the main guys you see, he is a large guy, and he's very cool. His name was Sincere. And Sin actually passed away unexpectedly and quickly this past weekend. So I met him. The guys in my booth have met him, and if anyone else knows him or sees him, he was great people. It's just one of those sad, shocking things. He's younger than I am, and I'm not exactly sure how he passed, and I just know it was quickly and unexpected. So then, shout out to his friends and family in this time of sadness. But yeah, we got to know him a little bit, and he was good people. After that, so again, next week we have Foam Zone with Andrew, aka Dart Sweep. He probably has a guest. If he's still here, he'll post it in the comments. Otherwise, he may have told me, and I usually forget anyways. But that's all right. Cap and I will return again in 2 weeks. We do not have a scheduled guest yet. Maybe we'll actually try for phones this time. Maybe we'll do that. We'll figure it out. But in 2 weeks, we will be back again. Again, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like it. Obviously, the further we get, the better it is. The more money we can actually make, we can actually do more things with you, and it costs me less out of my pocket. With that said, ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you very much, man. Thank you for tuning in, listening to us. Thanks to Brett for being on. It was always fun to have him on here and to talk to him. But again, World Foam Alliance is what we do, man. We're here to grow the community, unite the community, because you all are just fantastic and amazing people. With that said, though, you know what, man? It is time for you to just get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn.